The Ashland Board of Commissioners meeting for Thursday, November 18th, 2021. Start with an invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Let us pray. Our Father, we thank you for this opportunity to serve our fair city, Ashland, Kentucky. We once again ask for your wisdom and guidance on this Board of Mayor and Commissioners as we strive to make the right decisions on behalf of our city and its people. We ask your blessing and favor on our city manager, our staff and employees, our citizens, and those in our viewing audience. Be with us now in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Let's stand and salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Wirtz. Do we have a motion to receive and file the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes, receive and file. Do we have any?
So move.
I don't think we have any. No, sir.
Okay. Hearings and reports. We'll start with our commissioners.
I just want to welcome the great crowd we have today in our meeting. Sorry for the inconvenience of our elevator, but we're glad to be here on this rainy day. There's a lot of things we need to be thankful for, and one of the things we dedicated the Winter Wonderland of Lights kickoff to our friend Dr. Jividen, and it went very, very well the other night. They thought everybody had a great time, and the park looks really so great at this time of year. People from all over the area and really outside the area, they come to see this. My kids and grandkids, they really look forward to this. The parade is Tuesday, and I hear it is filling up, and it's going to be a nice parade and on the Tuesday the 23rd. And Montana Fouts, if you've ever encountered Montana Fouts, I did on the softball field, you don't want to. She is a wonderful, wonderful young lady who is an all-star pitcher from East Carter that went on and she's pitched at Alabama. And she is top-notch, and we are honored to have her as the Grand Marshal of the parade.
There's talk of her even being maybe Olympic.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
That's great.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's local. I'm East Carter. And I just want to mention there's 14 blighted properties on this agenda, and I think there's 4 that have been completed, as I understand, and that's a really good sign. And I want to thank my fellow commissioners for the dedication and commitment to this project. And then last but not least, we're going to go out and dedicate this new dog park. And so it's a great transformation of a repurposed property out there at Southside. I used to go swimming out there, and this is a new improved project. It has a part for small dogs and large dogs, and it's a great improvement. And I'm really happy and I want to kudos to our Parks Department and Amber Berry, who has kept her nose to the grindstone on getting this completed. And so that's all I have.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Thank you,
pretty
Commissioner
good.
Good. Who's next?
Well, I hope everybody, first of all, yes, the park looks gorgeous. I mean, it's the first time I'd seen it in a year or so because of my back surgery, and I was really impressed with how many more lights there are. It was so beautiful. So I hope everybody enjoys that over the holiday season. And I also hope that everybody's noticing all the beautiful decorations our stores are doing downtown because Ashland in Motion kicks off holiday with us the day after Thanksgiving. And so part of our holiday with us was having a competition for decorating shop windows and store windows and business windows. So we're real proud of that. I too want to just mention I'm so proud of Chris Pullum and Andrew Wheeler and their department, everybody that's involved with tearing down these blight houses. The newspaper did a great story on it. I mean, it's just a wonderful thing to be doing for our city. And I'm so glad to be working with the commission who's like-minded in getting these things done. We are a commission of action, and I love it. That's all I have.
Thank you.
I'm going to give a hearty hear. I absolutely love working with this commission because I think that we've spent a lot of years trying to get a lot of things done, and we're finally seeing those sort of snowball, and I love to watch it. Just to add on to Commissioner Spriggs' comments about Holiday with Us, those of you in the viewing audience and on television, holidaywithus.aky.com is going to give you a pretty good comprehensive list of everything that's happening through the holiday season throughout the Ashland area. Check it out. As Commissioner Spriggs mentioned, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, Shop Small Saturday kicks off Holiday with Us season. There will be a Shop Small Saturday event downtown. There are events every day of the week throughout between Thanksgiving and Christmas that you can visit. There's
And a restaurant.
highlights to the restaurants, highlights to the retail stores, all across Ashland, not just downtown, South Ashland, the mall, everywhere. And it's really going to be a fun event as far as getting people to come and see us and letting our locals come see us. There'll be specials and coupons and all that sort of thing. But again, holidaywithus.aky.com. If you can't find something to do during the holiday season in Ashland, you just don't want to, in my opinion. So check all of that out, and I'll stop talking because we've got an 11-page agenda.
Yep.
Did you mention Festival of the Trees?
I didn't.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, I was
Okay,
going to.
no, it's okay.
It's on the list.
So Festival of the Trees, lots of volunteers have put in a lot of hard work, and it looks beautiful as it always does. So please visit the Paramount for Festival of the Trees. It's beautiful. So it's hard to believe we're almost at a year for us serving, and my first year serving as well, and it has absolutely been a pleasure for me. And people ask me all the time, what's it like? Is it, it's got to be hard. It's got to be, what's it really like? And I can honestly say that working with these elected officials, this city staff, it's been an absolute pleasure. And the job is so enjoyable. Everything before the election, it's not always the most enjoyable. But I will say, the job is one of the most enjoyable things I've ever done. And I thank you all for that. We've got so you all mentioned pretty much everything as far as what's going on in the next few weeks. We do have we mentioned the pop-up event. So for non-brick and mortar stores at the G.C. Murphy Building on the 27th, there'll be an event there where you can come there and sell your items or whatever your business is. Christmas at the Cameo Arcade the same day, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So there's the 27th. There's a lot going on downtown. And, I've started to try to spend a lot more time with a lot of different businesses and start to really learn the different businesses that we have in the city. They're not all just retail businesses. Mm-hmm. Very proud to say, and I think this number takes people back a little bit. This year, not even counting November and December, we've issued 114 business licenses to new businesses. That's pretty amazing in a year, especially with the challenges of COVID. So Finance Department, Economic Development Department, all of our city staff, fantastic job on that. But for me, I want to continue to learn more about, get into those numbers and understand how we can keep adding on to that every year. Ashland's starting to be a place where you talk about people who want to start new businesses, and people really want to figure out how to get into Ashland now, and that's a really good feeling and a good thing to hear. So, thanks.
All right. Just want to make note, I too share in the sentiments of my commissioners that, can't hear me? Thank you. That we have a pretty aggressive budget this year. It's based on the recommendations from staff and also our own board members. And the successes we've had in the first 6 months of our budget year have been because of the hard work of our city staff and employees. So we are grateful as a commission to them. There's much more we want to do, and we have planned. And the fruits of the labor of our staff and this commission are starting to be seen. And I have had a lot of compliments from people in the community that have really been excited about the changes they're seeing. That's part of our efforts. Is it's not just to make our city safe, but we also want to make it clean, and we want to make it a place that you want to bring your family to set up residence and set your business up. So there's multiple ways that we're working. A lot of it is behind the scenes. Our commissioners each have projects they're passionate about, and I'm grateful to them that they're actively involved to get those projects done. I can say, since I've been on this board, that I've never seen as active a commission, and I appreciate your efforts. Thank you. You're up.
Let me go. All right. I'll just follow on a slightly different spin on what Commissioner Blanton and the mayor had said. So I think the things like the blight, the parks are all very visible manifestations of what they've complimented the staff about. There's also a lot the staff does that people don't see. Just driving in today, and I saw some of the streets guys pulling leaves out of a gutter. You know, that's a big deal. It's not a big deal if it doesn't get done. It is reverse. It's a big deal if it doesn't get done. It's not a big deal if it doesn't. So I appreciate that. And every department that's sitting back there, I know that you've got people, men and women, doing that work every day that people don't see. And I never want to not thank each and every one of you for your leadership. Since we have mentioned a couple of the items, I'll just give a quick brief synopsis, Mayor and Commissioners. Specifically on the demolitions, 4 properties have been taken down and dressed up. 9 properties will be taken down by the end of December and January. That's a little bit of a delay, but part of that is because we had some power drop problems and active gas lines that were discovered, so there's a slight delay on those. 7 properties that were approved on the October 15th meeting agenda will be taken down in January and February, and then the 14 that Commissioner Goot mentioned will be taken down as soon as possible, but some may go, depending on weather, into the spring. A particular note, $250,000 was budgeted for specifically blight removal from the Cdbg funds, and we're estimated to be at $251,722. So that's from, that number is from Mr. Pullum's department, Lorraine Woolery, formerly of his department, and DJ, who put those together. So pretty good estimating and great effort. And that encompasses the demo cost, asbestos removal, tile search, postage, public notices, all that. Pretty damn good, or excuse me, pretty darn good estimate, Chris. In regards to paving, I know everybody's been anxious to Commissioner Spriggs, the Board of Action, and they want to see where this is going, as the mayor has said. So we've all been a little bit anxious about getting the paving done. Mountain was able to start last week. I think it's been a week and a half, Steve, Mr. Cole, is that correct? So over the last couple weeks, close to 15,000 linear feet have been paved. Estimate about 431,000 of that close to $4 million budget on paving. They're continuing on our list of other projects to go. And a heads up for the community, we'll put something out on social media, but Bath Avenue between 12th and 17th, Hilton Avenue between Prospect and 22nd, 19th, 20th, and 21st Street, and 11th Street between Winchester and Carter are the next ones in the queue. So you'll be seeing that work coming up, and we're going to get as much done as we can. Obviously, with the paving season, we believe it's going to go into the second week of December.
And what was that date on Dixon Street?
Dixon Street will be the week after Thanksgiving, correct, Mr. Cole? And it looks like the weather's going to hold out for that. Other thing I wanted to mention is the COVID numbers. Just to put this in perspective, we're in the 4th surge. We're up to 37 positive cases. We have 1 active positive case and 1 active in quarantine right now. That's out of the 96 total exposures. In perspective of the county, out of 100,000 people, we got a rate of 36.7. So the previous high was 138.9. Not less threatening nonetheless, but the numbers are definitely lower, and we've hit a little bit of a plateau here in the county.
So those are county numbers.
The 37 are city staff
Okay,
numbers,
city staff.
but the
All right.
36.7 per 100,000 are county numbers. Yes, Commissioner. And Mayor, I believe that's all I have.
All right, thank you. At this point of our meeting, we'll have public participation. Anyone with a comment or request may come to the podium and address the commission concerning matters related to city business, services, or personnel. Would anybody like to speak? Come on down.
Y'all know who I am. I live at 804 East Street, Ashland, Kentucky. My rank is private first class. There's one thing I want to mention. That on December the 4th at 10 o'clock, we'll be putting the wreaths on the Veteran Cemetery. If you ever seen the cemetery with the wreaths on it, you're missing it. I'm telling you, it's beautiful. So if you want to come out, please come out and help. Also, my wife works at Centos up here on Winchester Avenue. They have one way in and one way out. And she told me that they have tried to contact the railroad about fixing there's another pass that goes into the building. Why, I mean, I don't know about you, but I think it's kind of dumb if they have a fire or an explosion. There's only one way in, one way out, and you're looking probably, they've got probably 150 to 200 people that work there. So I don't know whether you all can help us out on this or not, so.
Mr. Wirtz, we've been dealing with CSX on this for a couple of months in an effort
Okay.
to try, we've got 3 different courses of action for their consideration to get
Yes, sir.
alternate avenues of approach in there. You're absolutely right. Your observation is spot on.
Okay, all right, thank you, guys.
Yeah, also, you mentioned it to me last time, and so after the meeting, I drove up there because the Coke plant entrance,
Yeah.
I was pretty sure that you could get, well, no, you can't, there's Jersey barriers up there.
Thing across the road.
Yeah, so, yeah.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak?
Mike Maynard at 1819 Eloise Street. And so today, finally, there's nothing on the agenda that you're voting for Hillcrest Bruce Mission. It has been a very long time. And so what I wanted to do, so a lot of the CBDG funds that you vote for that get passed through from HUD, through the economic development and everything, just want to kind of give you just a quick synopsis of the impact over the last year of what that's done for our neighborhood in the Pollard area and what it's done here for Ashland. But first of all, just thank you. You all have been very generous over these last couple years with funding, and it has truly made a difference in a lot of people's lives. Just in our work-study program, where we take folks who are on some type of government assistance, we get them into our adult education program and into our work program to give them digital skills and interviews and resume skills and get them into college or vocational school. So we have gotten 11 folks have earned their GED with us now. We've had 25 start college, 6 have graduated now, and we've had 42 get full-time jobs.
That's fantastic.
That's great.
And so one of our first ones, she's been a nurse for a year now, and her credit score is 20 points away from getting her first home.
Wow.
That's great.
And so the money that you invest in our area, whether it's for food pantry or whether it's to help with insurance on the van so we can go deliver food, all these different things, those are the things that make us, we're open in that neighborhood so people can come to us so that we can help them. And here back a couple weeks ago, you all had voted to help us out with an education and employment specialist that will work there starting in January for the next 18 months. And I can't even imagine how many more folks are going to be able to get the assistance they need to take advantage of the good jobs that we have in our community, but they just don't qualify right now. But with this, it'll help us even more make sure that they are qualified to take advantage of these jobs. And so in addition to that, in the last year, even through the pandemic and as hard as it's been, we have a kids karate program that started up about 4 months ago. It's grown so much that we've split it into 2 classes now on Tuesday nights. And the interesting thing is that Uriah Tolbert, who's the principal at Crab, he's instructing that class. Well, Uriah is one of our kids. He was in our after-school program at Hillcrest Bruce Mission. He was introduced to karate at the mission. And now he's a principal at Crab, and he's teaching karate back to kids in the neighborhood again. We've got a women's AA group that meets on Tuesday nights. They started a prayer and meditation group that meets on Wednesday nights. Pathways is sending their van up once a month to do HIV and Hep C testing. We've also got UK Healing Communities that's coming up once a month to do Narcan training and pass out Narcan. We've got the government Lifeline phone program. They're up there twice a month. We have 2 different insurance companies that come up each month to answer questions for folks about their insurance and make sure they're in the right plans. So even as busy as it's been, we continue to find more ways to serve our neighbors. And the city is a big part of that. We have a lot of great partners, a lot of businesses, a lot of churches, a lot of individuals, a lot of grants that help us do what we do. But I just wanted to take a few minutes just to thank you and just to let you know the impact that we're making in the Pollard area.
Mike, One thing I would just like to say is Hillcrest Bruce Mission has always had an excellent reputation for the work that they do in that specific neighborhood, but they've also, it reaches further than that. But I must commend you on your leadership. You know, we have a lot of money that comes through the feds to help people. And it's not always that we see somebody that will come back to this commission with a report to let us know how that money's being used and how effective it is. And I can't thank you enough for coming to us, giving us the update, and obviously the work that you're doing in that neighborhood. You're providing a hand up, not a handout. And that is exactly the type of results that we want to see with our giving through Cdbg, and all charities should be focusing on your organization as the gold standard, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'd like to say one other thing. Mike happened to be the keynote speaker last Thursday at the War Memorial in Boyd County. And you did a great job. I have to commend you. You did a great job. What a wonderful thing. It was very moving. Some of us were out there for that, and so I thank you for that as well.
I'm just going to echo the mayor's comments and just say thank you to you for the work that you do. You are truly, truly making a difference, and we appreciate it.
I want to echo that, Mike. It all goes with leadership, and you're the man. Your leadership as director there has brought that program to a new level. And so we're grateful for you, and we're thankful for the ministry up there. Serves so many people.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody noticed, but he didn't read a word of that. He knows exactly
Yeah.
what's
What
going
is
on
it?
because he's a part of every bit of it. We appreciate you, not just here, but, you know, we talk in other times, and you're exactly what we need in that world. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to speak? All right, we're going to move on to old business.
Old business, item A, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute an agreement between the Commonwealth of Kentucky Transportation Cabinet and the City of Ashland for participation in the bike racks installation project at a cost of $1,320 to be paid by the City of Ashland in matching funds.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item B, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract between the City of Ashland, Kentucky and Olive Hill Trucking, Inc. for the purchase of gravel, stone, and sand for the Department of Public Services and the Department of Utilities.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item C, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute an agreement between the City of Ashland and King's Daughters Medical Center regarding an encroachment for the construction of 2 canopies on the walkways on the Bath Avenue side of the hospital between 22nd and 23rd Streets on the city's right-of-way.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item D, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, creating an unimproved, or closing an unimproved portion of an unimproved alley lying south and parallel to Peacock Mine Road in the city of Ashland, Kentucky.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item E, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, amending Section 11 of Ordinance Number 32, Series of 2018, commonly known as the Garbage, Sewer, and Water Ordinance, authorizing combined sewer overflow monies collected be expended on CSO reduction projects necessary to comply with the consent judgment.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item F, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, An Ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract between the City of Ashland and American Ramp Company to furnish all labor, materials, and supervision and safety to install skate park equipment in the amount of $134,000 at AK Steel Sports Park for the Department of Parks and Recreation.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'm thankful for this. I'm thankful for the commitment to this. And then we had so many personalities and players in this, people that were, you know, were very experienced skateboard people
Yes.
that were part of the public. So I'm grateful.
All in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda, a resolution of the City of Ashland, Kentucky adopting, authorizing, and approving the course of action presented by the city manager on the items appearing on the consent agenda for the regular meeting of the Board of City Commissioners of November 18th, 2021.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The big consent agenda.
All right, yeah. Thank you. Hoping your hymnals too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New business. Item A, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Bobby's Mulch for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris of 4832 Boyd Street in the amount of $6,600 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item B, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Bobby's Mulch for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris of 3001 Carter Avenue in the amount of $5,500 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item C, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Bobby's Mulch for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris of 3025 Central Avenue in the amount of $4,600 for the Department of Community and Economic
So
Development.
moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item D, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Bobby's Mulch for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris of 3112 Central Avenue in the amount of $5,900 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item E, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Bobby's Mulch for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris of 520 Charrington Street in the amount of $9,200 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item F, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Bobby's Mulch for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris of 2234 Cleveland Street in the amount of $4,500 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item G, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Bobby's Mulch for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris of 2238 Griffith Street in the amount of $5,200 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item H, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Bobby's Mulch for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris of 1802 Hilton Avenue in the amount of $6,000
moved.
for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Easy, Marty, easy.
Marty's anxious.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item I, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Lights Enterprises, Inc. for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris of 342 31st Street in the amount of $6,000 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item J, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Lights Enterprises, Inc. for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris of 503 Broome Street in the amount of $4,800 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in
Chris-
favor? Oh,
Wait a minute, Chris, do most of these houses have asbestos in them?
It's a mixed bag,
Okay.
Commissioner. We have testing on all of them,
Yeah,
and, no, not all of them.
okay.
I would say the majority.
16, again, the list from Lorraine had provided, 16 of the 34 had asbestos removal, but as Mr. Pullum said, they still had to be evaluated.
Yes, okay.
any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item K, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Lights Enterprises, Inc. for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris of 2134 Oakview Road in the amount of $5,400 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item L, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Lights Enterprises, Inc. for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris of 2213 Sellers Street in the amount of $4,680 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item M, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Lights Enterprises, Inc. for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris of 3320 Simpson Road in the amount of $4,250 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item N, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor of the City of Ashland, Kentucky to execute a contract with Womack Excavating LLC for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris of 618 27th Street in the amount of $3,700 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item O, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky adopting the Housing Choice Voucher Program 2022 Utility Allowance Schedule for the City of Ashland Community and Economic Development Department, Division of Assisted Housing, Section 8.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I recuse myself.
Item P, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, amending ordinance number 151, series of 2018, as amended by ordinance number 133, series of 2019, to provide that professional services for the Pollard Mills Drainage Improvement Project in the amount of $421,800 shall be paid from the general fund, utility fund, and community development block grant funds.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item Q, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a collective bargaining agreement between the City of Ashland, Kentucky and Ashland City Police Members Fraternal Order of Police, Ashland Lodge Number 3.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item R, reading and adoption of a municipal order entitled, a municipal order of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to submit an application for the Kentucky League of Cities Cybersecurity Preparedness Grant in the amount of $10,000.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I just wanted to point out there, we've had, city manager did a good job of informing us of a couple issues locally that have been happening with cyber attacks. And the action that we took earlier in the year with VC3 and that action, cyber attacks are absolutely a huge risk for local municipalities. So hopefully this grant, happens for us, but, taking steps to really make ourselves secure is important.
Yeah, I'd like to ask the city manager after we vote on this to just give us an update where we stand on that, so.
Okay. Like it now?
Well, I think we ought to vote on this first, don't you?
I think we did. We did vote, didn't
We already voted.
Yeah,
we? We already voted.
Let me brief you up.
What?
We did. I said it after we voted.
He started the discussion after the vote.
Okay,
Y'all too quick.
really? All right.
So I think the simplest way I can explain it right now, Commissioner, is that we're still in the process of predominantly a culture change in that we're used to calling one person who would scurry around the entire city to get things done. It's when you haven't done this before for IT support, to call somebody at a distant location and get that support is a culture change. And we're still working through some bugs. I'll be frank, there's some software systems that are out there in some of the directorates that are challenging. VC3 is learning those. They're serving as the intermediary between us and these other third-party providers that either our former database administrator would do or some of the workforce would do. So it's a slow process, and I'm not saying that critically about culture change. It truly is. They are still due out on a lot of products to us, they being VC3, on strategic investment. We still have We have some hardware challenges that we are working through right now to ensure that our security is as bulletproof as we can make it. And that's been a little bit painful, specifically on individual platforms for our workforce. So as we get that up to speed, we'll be on a better glide path. And I think the performance of the computers of people that have had these, they appreciate it, but it's very painful, as Michelle Veach will tell you, to get there. It's been difficult, but I haven't had any other complaints or concerns about VC3 support to us. They have found other areas as part of our contract that we're going to be able to save some money too. So what we provided you all a couple months ago was what we expected the high-end cost to be. But some types of software that they have for malware or firewalls, we can let some of the other contracts go that we paid monthly on and implement very similar capabilities. So it's all, I'd say it's in the final stages of the discovery process, would you say, Michelle, Ms. Grubb? And I think we're on track.
Okay, you
Overall.
keep us up on what's going on there. We're
Absolutely.
interested to know. Thank you.
All right.
I-
One final item, I think?
Yes, item S, reading and adoption of a municipal order entitled Municipal Order of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute an agreement, an airport rescue grant agreement in the approximate amount of $32,000 between the City of Ashland, Kentucky, County of Boyd, Kentucky, the County of Greenup, Kentucky, the Ashland-Boyd County Airport Board, and the United States of America acting through the Federal Aviation Administration.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion?
This is just a pass-through, basically. right?
Correct.
Yeah.
It is, yep. All in favor?
Aye.
I think at this time we'd entertain a motion to go into executive session for three purposes, to consider pending litigation, to discuss a potential litigation matter, and also discuss an individual personnel matter.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
We're going to go into executive session. Only the items mentioned will be discussed. No action will be taken. The record reflect, we returned at 1:02. Adjourn?
So moved.
Second. Are we
Any
adjourning?
discussion? What is it?
Are we adjourning? Or just going to
Going to the
ribbon
dog
cutting?
park, but I guess that's okay, right?
We are adjourning,
Okay.
yes, and we are going to meet for our ribbon cutting.
Michelle, is the bus down here?
Meeting adjourned.
And